Equal Opportunity Cell. Moving forward, I would request Professor Savita Singh to start moderating the program. Thank you all of you.
Morning, Namaskar. Director of School of Gender and Development Studies, Professor Himanti. Welcome you all. Let me welcome you all again. Today is 8th March, and it is a very big day for all feminists, men and women, all over the world, no matter from where they come. I will take only 2 minutes to underline the significance of International Women's Day today, as Himanti has already pointed out. When our school started in 2009, and I came as the first director of the school, the university was mentally ready to celebrate this day as an important date in the calendar of IGNOU. And IGNOU's record, the Gender Sanskrit Institution, is to be celebrated along with the celebration of International Women's Day. I must say that from that time onwards, we have fully received support from the university, from authorities, and we have had vice chancellors who have marched with us against the violence perpetrated against them. I can never forget when such things happen. After all, when we write the history as feminist history of this institution, all of this will be written. We are a great institution. Today, as you know, as Dr. Roy has pointed out, you know how International Women's Day started? I mean, you must be knowing, but it has been underlined here. In 1908, 15,000 women who were workers in various capacities, particularly from the garment industry in New York, they marched asking for better wages and better conditions for work. Next year, in 1909, Socialist Party of America took up the cause of working women for America and made it Women's Day for American community. In 1910, Clara Zetkin was a feminist socialist. In Copenhagen, she made this particular aspiration of women to have equal wages, to have better conditions to work, and international issues. From that time, it became International Day, which women began to celebrate. And we are celebrating gender equality. You know the history of women's struggle to acquire equality within the societies that we live in. Or in almost all areas of life, they're asking for equality and gender justice. And they have also got equality. No nation in the world today is without gender policies for equality and justice. United Nations is the first, thank God. And if you go to International Labour Organization, you will find that great efforts at the level of policy made by this institution to allow women to ask for valuation of good labor. There's a great debate going on for quite some time on domestic labor. Women's labor must be valued, and it is an important issue. In 2022, the slogan that has been given by United Nations for celebrating International Women's Day is "Cross your arms." It's a kind of sign, it's a symbol, which means that say no to biases, discrimination, and stereotyping. So, because these are the way for gender equality. So we are going for very individual level. We are today pledging that we will fight biases that still work, and it is in this spirit that we celebrate. Now, as always been, we have a great program lined up for today. And this year we are celebrating, we have been celebrating for last 3-4 years, 4-5 years rather. Not the school alone, standalone, but IGNOU itself is celebrating with cash committees and with equality opportunity cell, right? So this is also quite a wonderful thing that we have learned to collaborate together, work in solidarity, because otherwise we cannot fight biases that we fall victim, and we practice it necessarily in a structural manner. So I'm very thankful that cash committee is with us, and equality is a great value that we are championing. So today, so we are going to have our full. We are starting, commencing the program with Kuldeep, which I want to listen for the first time. So let us have that today. Then I'll be inviting Dr. Hemlata, collaborative cell coordinator. Like the land, and welcome you all again. And then we start with the professor. So can we have the full name, please? There seems to be some problem.
ये है जन जन का विश्वविद्यालय।
They're all with us today. Professor Sunita Kukreti, Honorable Vice Chancellor of this university, is also looks after our school. Professor R.P. Das, Professor Satyakam, Professor Uma Kanjilal, Dr. Shrikant Mahapatra, and our newest Vice Chancellor.
यह जन जन का विश्वविद्यालय, सरल सुगम शिक्षा का आलय। जन जन का विश्वविद्यालय, जन जन का विश्वविद्यालय। ज्योत जलाए ज्ञान की, स्वाध्याय की, अनुसंधान की राह दिखाए वंचितों को शिक्षा के अधिकार की। ना उम्र का कोई बंधन, ना बंदिश परिधि की। घर घर है बना शिक्षा का देवालय। यह जन जन का विश्वविद्यालय, जन जन का विश्वविद्यालय। जन का मान सम्मान पहचान है।
राष्ट्र का आह्वान है, वरदान है, अभिमान है।
राष्ट्र का आह्वान, वरदान, अभिमान है। सर्व सुलभ सर्वोत्तम शिक्षा का है वादा, मुक्त और दूरस्थ शिक्षा का महालय। यह जन जन का विश्वविद्यालय, जन जन का विश्वविद्यालय। देश विदेश पटल पर भूषित, नवाचार से सज्जित, गुणवत्ता से परिपूरित। ज्ञान वाणी, ज्ञान दर्शन, ज्ञान कोश से संचित, ज्ञान कोश से संचित। सर्वगुण संपन्न शिक्षा का हिमालय, शिक्षा का हिमालय। यह जन
So, I'm calling out coordinator equal opportunity cell to say a few words, and then we start.
Thank you, Professor Savita. Good morning to all. सभी को नमस्कार. Equal Opportunity Cell, IGNOU Committee Against Sexual Harassment और स्कूल ऑफ जेंडर एंड डेवलपमेंट स्टडीज की ओर से मैं आज के कार्यक्रम में आप सभी का स्वागत करती हूँ. मैं स्वागत करती हूँ मिस आंचल कपूर का, जो हमारी आज की एक्सपर्ट है और उन्होंने अपने व्यस्त शेड्यूल में से हमारे लिए समय निकाला. जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं, वुमेन्स डे पे बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं एंड शी इज इनटू द कोर एरिया ऑफ वुमेन्स ग्रुप. और अपने बिजी शेड्यूल में से, हालांकि वो आज जब हमारे यहाँ आई तो अपना सामान भी अपने साथ लेकर आई थी, क्योंकि इसके बाद उन्हें कहीं दूसरी जगह शिफ्ट होना है. तो उनका जो कमिटमेंट है, उनका जो यहाँ आना, उसके लिए मैं उनका तहे दिल से स्वागत करती हूँ. धन्यवाद मैम. और मैं अपने दो वाइस चांसलर्स प्रोफेसर आरती दास, प्रोफेसर सुमित्रा कुकरेती, प्रोफेसर मनरूप मीना जी का स्वागत करती हूँ. और हमारे वाइस चांसलर महोदय जो कुछ देर बाद हमारे साथ जुड़ेंगे, उनका भी मैं धन्यवाद देती हूँ कि उनकी गाइडेंस में हम ये कार्यक्रम कर सके. और यहाँ उपस्थित सभी डायरेक्टर्स, फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, आईकेश की कमेटी मेंबर्स, स्कूल ऑफ जेंडर स्टडीज की फैकल्टी मेंबर्स और उपस्थित सभी बच्चे जिन्होंने स्लोगन कंपटीशन में जिन लोगों ने हिस्सा लिया, वो सभी लोग, और पेंटिंग कंपटीशन में जिन लोगों को पुरस्कार मिल रहा है, उन सभी का भी मैं स्वागत करती हूँ. वेलकम टू ऑल. थैंक यू.
थैंक यू. अब हमारे जो EBCs यहाँ पे मौजूद हैं, इन लोगों को हम फैसिलिटेट करना चाहते हैं, फैसिलिटेट करना चाहते हैं. तो हम लोग बहुत फ्रीली स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं शास्त्र के जब तक वो आते हैं. तो हम लोग कुछ चीजें, कुछ प्लांट्स देना चाहते हैं आप सबको. तो प्रोफेसर और हम लोग पहले भी
ठीक है. फैसिलिटेट तो करते हैं. क्लास बोर्ड्स देते हैं जब सर आएंगे.
प्रोग्राम को चल रहे सब भी
ठीक.
मैडम will understand better. This is a bar because he is not.
मैम तो फिर आप मैम से शुरू करा. मैम को इनवाइट करो.
Honorable Professor
Thank you, Professor Savita. You rightly set the tone for today's program. Honorable Professor Nagesha Ramji, Vice Chancellor IGNOU, my fellow Pro-Vice Chancellors, Professor Das and Professor Meena, key speaker Ms. Aanchal Kapoor, Director Creativity, Himadri Rao, Director SOGS, Directors of various schools and other dignitaries. Good morning to all. It gives me immense pleasure that on the occasion of International Women's Day, SOGS has organized this special lecture. It's a reminder of the fact that gender is still a serious issue that needs sensitive thought by the society. I'm taking you to the history as it was already done by Professor Savita. One is not born but rather becomes a woman. says Simone de Beauvoir. And that is more than enough to understand the difference between sex and gender. As gender is socially constructed and thrust upon the psyche of women. Throughout the world, in India as well as in most advanced European countries, women used to be considered as inferior to men, and gendering up to certain degrees is still apparent in society, be it Indian society or Western society. Till recent past, women was regarded as emotional, irrational, and subjective being, while men were considered as logical, rational, and objective person. Actually, these different traits are not natural, but they are forced upon women by the society by certain kind of gendering approaches. Literature is a mirror to society and vice versa. William Shakespeare writes in Hamlet, "Frailty, thy name is woman." With that, he has categorized half of the human race as weak and delicate, not only in body, but also in character. While Alexander Pope has clearly stated that true study of humanity is men, not women. And Tennyson in Victorian age goes to the extent of saying, men for the field, women for the earth, men for the sword, for the middle shield. Men with the head and women with the heart. Men to command and women to obey. All else is confusion. All this is clear indication of the fundamental belief of society that men are superior to women. The very term female has become a synonym of weakness. A woman is conditioned and brought up through the examples of timeless feminine symbols of Indian womanhood. All of us are familiar with that. Mary Wollstonecraft, the first woman theorist, writes, "I wish to persuade women to acquire strength, both of mind and body, and to convince them that the soft phrases, susceptibility of heart, delicacy of sentiments, and refinement of taste are almost synonymous with epithets of weakness." She expresses a displeasure over the derogatory term female for women, as this term is associated with weakness, infirmity, and even fragility. She further points out that female is female by virtue of a certain lack of qualities, said Aristotle, and St. Thomas pronounced woman to be an imperfect man and incidental being. Simone de Beauvoir established the fact that biologically men and women are different, but in intellect they are the same. Thankfully, in 21st century, the perception has changed a lot. And as women, we can enjoy the rights and privileges which were beyond the imagination of our predecessors. If we compare the present and past status of women in society, we find some positive trends. We find that women is acquiring strength gradually in all walks of life. For example, the percentage share of women in American Senate is on rise, though it is still far from satisfactory. Though there are just 81 women MPs in Indian Parliament at present, but definitely the number is rising since independence. The share of women sitting on the boards of Fortune 500 companies has been gradually increasing for decades, rising from 9.6 in 1995 to 27% in 2019. The share of female CEOs of Fortune 500 companies reached an all-time high of 7.4% in 2020, though it is still very decimal, but with 37 women heading major firms. In 2016, 30.1% of university presidents were women, triple the share in 1986. The number of women receiving higher education is increasing worldwide. The share of women in medical and engineering is constantly on rise, and in some of the branches of medicine, women outnumber men. So this is a pity that less number of women doctors enter in practice. Among university gold medalists, 65% to 70% of them are usually women. More women are taking up jobs at all levels, be it armed forces or space science. If the position of women is gaining strength at such fast pace, should we assume that they are on the verge of attaining equality at home and workplace? Definitely not. And do we assume that they are quite happy with their position in society? Certainly not. Because though the picture seems quite rosy, but women are still being discriminated at home and workplace, particularly the condition of women at lower strata of society and in lower middle class is still very dismal and pathetic. If we go by the statistics, with 21% women workforce, India has one of the lowest female participation rates in the world. In other words, 79% of Indian women aged 15 years and above do not even seek work. India's 21% female labor workforce is not even half of the global average, that is 47%. India's lower workforce participation rate for women is due to restrictive cultural norms regarding women's work, the gender wage gap, and the lack of safety policies and flexible working hours. The recent job stagnation and high employment rates for women, aggravated by the COVID-19 pandemic, also keep women out of the labor force. Even in developed nations like US or UK, in private sectors, women earn 80% of the salary received by men for the equal nature of work. Despite being more educated than men and constituting nearly half of the workforce, women are promoted at work far less often than men. Researchers have found that women negotiated their pay less often than their male counterparts. The poll found that nearly 70% women accepted the salary they were offered without even negotiating. To anyone who has experienced gender or other forms of discrimination in the workplace or outside, it is likely unsurprising that pay disparity, one of the clearest indicators of discrimination, is linked with anxiety and depression. In addition to pay discrimination on the basis of gender, other issues of workplace discrimination include discrimination in hiring, promotion, and having disproportionate number of men in positions of power and leadership roles. There are also extremely subtle types of gender discrimination, and this discrimination and pay disparity are in direct violation of international human rights law in most of the countries. This is also serious mental health implication on victims. A 2016 Columbia University study found that women who earned significantly less than their male counterparts, the factors for age, education, profession being the same, were 4 times more likely to suffer from anxiety and depression. This strongly suggests that perceived gender discrimination is an important factor in women's mental health. There is positive correlation between pay inequality and poor mental health of women. An obstacle that many women face in the workplace is sexual harassment. A survey conducted in January 18 found that 38% of women have experienced sexual harassment in the workplace, while 81% reported experiencing some form of sexual harassment in their entire lifetime, including verbal or physical assault. While the Me Too movement has helped to raise this issue, little has been known until now about how many women are subjected of this kind of discrimination, mistreatment, and how many of them have resigned from their positions and how many have been constantly undergoing mental stress. Mental health is a serious concern for all women who strive to attain something, whether their goal is success or fulfillment in their chosen profession or obtaining work-life balance. Women as a whole tend to be twice as likely as men to suffer from depression and anxiety, and the problem is even more prevalent among working women. Career-driven women feel that they have to work twice as hard as men to move up the social and corporate ladder, because they have to shoulder the responsibility for the children and household along with maintaining their career. These burdens lead to increased levels of the stress and that translates the feeling of anxiety and depression. In fact, it has coined a new term, superwoman syndrome. In an effort to prove their merit, women tend to adopt multitasking, but the idea that fulfilling all the roles and responsibilities to perfection will lead them to a lifetime of happiness and balance is not realistic. Instead of feeling fulfilled, women feel stressed, anxious, and chronically fatigued. Accumulated stress opens the door to a multitude of health issues, including early aging, heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. Thus, these issues need to be discussed regularly, and we all know that concern over women's mental health has reached a tipping point during and after the COVID-19 pandemic, as it has affected them very badly. I congratulate SOGDS for organizing this event on International Women's Day and wish it will be instrumental in generating some positive thought and will fulfill its objectives. Congratulations and best wishes once again.
Thank you, Professor, for the preparation. We're very happy sitting here today, listening to her. It's a wonderful speech that she has given. You can see from the data that she has given, just a very small data she has shared with us. It is enormous to go into the data sets to show that women's condition is far from being improved to the level a society needs to be compassionate, fair, and gender justice. I was reading a report in which it has been openly accepted that for women to achieve gender equality, it will take another 100 years. And who lives 100 years to say this? So we have to struggle. We have to campaign, seek solidarity, seek people's help, influence our governments, our states, make good policies for women to live. After this wonderful speech by Professor Kubreti, I'm very proud to say that we're happy that she's looking after, she's working with us. I'm going to invite Honorable Professor R.P. Das to say something, to give his definition on a situation which is
Thank you very much. At the outset, I wish you all a very happy Women's Day. In fact, I was not supposed to be a speaker, but since we are waiting for our Honorable Vice Chancellor to be here, so I am asked to say a few words. At the outset, I welcome Susri Anchal Kapoor to this program, and school in charge, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Madam Sumitra Kupreti, Dr. Minaji, and all other directors of the schools, all the participants who have joined this program. In fact, after listening Professor Kupreti, my spontaneous reaction is that just my spontaneous reaction, because that nobody can stop, because I have my own opinions about it. She spoke only history. Of course, towards the end, she was presenting a little different picture. But being an Indian and living in our country for sensibly after the last 5 decades, we see a sea change has taken place in this country with respect to women. Perhaps ours is the only country where women are worshipped. We say that Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu Matrurupena Sanchita, Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Sanchita, Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu Vidya Rupena Sanchita, and what not. So we have respected women from the inception of the civilization, and we have worshipped. And I personally believe that we have paid highest respect to women in the society, because whatever has been the research reports reveals, it happens everywhere. It happens with men also. It happens with women. It happens because whenever we have to live with society, these are the development express. But whenever we take women liberation, I have no comment on this issue. But our women are liberated in this country. In our country, we are doing everything. Look at the statistics. What Madam Sumitra ji Poteriti, that 81 MPs are women in this country. 30% seats are reserved for women and 50% seats are reserved for women. Look at the result of the examination, what women are doing. We are proud of it. And nowadays, the scenario has changed so much that even the parents like us are happy whenever a daughter is born in the family and a son. Because I still remember as a school-going children, I always quote it in my house because I have 2 sons, that our school teachers who used to teach us Sanskrit, he says, daughter is daughter throughout her life, son is son till he gets his wife. So मेरा जब second बच्चा भी बेटा हुआ था, मैंने मेरा मिसेस को बताया था, where is the daughter? So I always feel it, I realized it, and other issues because Anchal ji hai, Anchal ji baat kare. You know, I perhaps in 2007 or 8 when I was I'm still in Ravi Shankar Shukla University. मृदुला सिन्हा जी आए थे जो गोवा का फॉर्मर गवर्नर थे. मैं भारत भूषण जी से शेयर कर रहा था. एक वुमेन्स डे सेलिब्रेशन हो रहा था because I was director college development council, so I was supposed to be there. Vice Chancellor came. The discussion was, you know, we only talk about the history. We should talk about the present. Because, for example, marriage like society, the system, family is breaking. We should be very realistic about this. Always we give example that it is breaking because of the other side of the story. हम लोग हमेशा जब नेगेटिव स्टोरी का बारे में बात करते हैं, you know that builds up in our mind. Because हम लोग जो सिस्टम में पैदा हुए हैं, बढ़े हुए हैं और बढ़ेंगे, we should give a positive, rosy picture about our system. What I said, I mean it. I was in need of a daughter than a son. That's a different thing because daughter is daughter. You know, that is in my mind. So whenever I picked up a daughter-in-law for my house, first statement was, you are legally now my daughter, not daughter by birth. Now you are more powerful than the daughter which we would have been a part. But things are changing. And what happens? I believe, because I sometimes teach psychology, human behavior. Whenever you continuously speak, we develop a negative attitude about the things. ये दुनिया दो पहिया है, मेल फीमेल, मैन वीमेन, we have to live together. हमारा देश में हम ज्यादा इससे जीते बोलते नहीं, जीते भी हैं. और ऐसे कहते ना कभी कभी साइकोलॉजिकल फंड, मैरिज इज एन इंस्टीट्यूशन which continues, which is strengthened. It is a psychological contract. It is an invisible contract. It cannot be seen, but it exists. But gradually it is breaking. It is declining. So time has come. This day should be celebrated to remind us each other's responsibility. That how we have to strengthen this family institution. Where कल में मेरे को नींद जल्दी खुल गया, मैं कुछ शॉर्ट फिल्म भी देख रहा था. We should not be spontaneous in our decision. We should remember our mothers. We should remember our sisters' contribution. I define management. Management is managing life, and we say management. Mother is the best manager in the world. Who is mother? Mother is not a man. Mother is a woman. So we should look at it. What is it? And how we have to build that bondage in this great country. We are not Americans. We are not Canadians. We are Indians. What I said, I mean that we respect mother. We respect women, and that should prevail in all the men. That feeling should be there. What our mother has given us, that feeling should prevail in our women also, so that we can have a strong family. We can have a strong society. Where we say discrimination, we should now, on this day, all of us should think that how this discrimination should vanish from the mind of men and women, so that we can have a healthy society. We can have a peaceful living. That is the requirement of the time. The way the things are changing because of the globalization, global competition. If we say that is discrimination, there is no discrimination. Discrimination is vanishing, at least in our country, because of the way the things are changing. The way, because what Mridula Sinha ji wo bhashan mein bole the, whatever I am today because of my husband. We say behind every successful man there is a woman. I also say the vice versa is also true. And जो position आज बदल रहा है समाज में, it is because there is behind them there is a man. There is a man. So हम आज का दिन में मेरे ख्याल फिर भी इस चीज के बारे में सोचने का टाइम है, आ गया है हम लोगों के पास, कि हम लोग ये सोचना चाहिए how there is no discrimination. There should be discussion on cooperation, collaboration, support, so that we should have a strong family bondage to build a healthy society, healthy family life, healthy world, so that we can give our best to the society before we leave the society. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Das, for sharing your views with us. There is no doubt that we are a mother worshipping culture, but women are also wives, sisters, daughters. That's very important. Now, I want to invite the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mandeep Singh, to share his views with us. We'll be delighted to hear what he has to say.
आदरणीय श्री आरती दास जी, सुमित्रा जी, सभी इस कार्यक्रम के सहभागी। ये जो समाज है उसमें लगभग आधी संख्या महिलाओं की। हम प्राचीन समय से ही देखें तो भारतीय परंपरा में, चाहे वो रामायण का उदाहरण लें, चाहे महाभारत का, या कौटिल्य नीति या शुक्र नीति, सब में महिलाओं को सम्मान दिया गया है। शक्ति के रूप में, दैवीय शक्ति के रूप में आज भी हम उनकी पूजा करते हैं, चाहे वो लक्ष्मी जी हो, सरस्वती जी हो, या माँ दुर्गा के विभिन्न रूपों में। केवल हमारे जो सनातन धर्म है उसी में नहीं, दुनिया के जितने भी धर्म है, चाहे वो ईसाई धर्म हो, चाहे वो इस्लाम धर्म हो या अन्य धर्म हो, सब में महिलाओं को सम्मान की दृष्टि से देखा गया है। लेकिन इस स्वास्थ्यमय व्यवस्था में पुरुष प्रधानता रही है और इसलिए उनको दूसरे दृष्टि से और कमजोर पक्ष के रूप में देखा जाता है। मध्यकाल में कुछ ऐसी परिस्थितियां आई कि जिसमें उनको मान लो पर्दा व्यवस्था और विभिन्न कुरीतियों की दिशा में धकेल दिया गया। मैंने अहिल्याबाई के बारे में, जो होलकर परिवार में महारानी भी बनी बाद में, एक सामान्य परिवार में, गढ़िया परिवार में पैदा हुई बच्ची, और उसकी कितनी अच्छी कुशाग्र बुद्धि थी, कितनी अच्छी उसने महिला शिक्षा के लिए जिद की। उसकी जो सासू माँ थी वो बाधक बनती थी उसमें, लेकिन ससुर ने उसमें सपोर्ट किया और वो महिला शिक्षा का एक उदाहरण बनी। उसने अर्थव्यवस्था में कैसे महिला भागीदार हो सकती हैं, वस्त्र उद्योग को उसने बढ़ावा दिया। कदम कदम पर उसको परेशानियां झेलनी पड़ी, लेकिन उसका दृढ़ निश्चय था कि उसने महिलाओं की भूमिका किस तरह की होनी चाहिए समाज में, राज्य में, वो साबित करके दिखा दिया। तो इसलिए ऐसा हमको सोचना पड़ेगा। महारानी लक्ष्मीबाई जिनका इतिहास में एक बहुत बड़ा उदाहरण है कि वो एक नारी शक्ति के रूप में उन्होंने राष्ट्र के लिए अपने को बलिदान किया और वो नारी शक्ति के रूप में एक प्रेरणा बनकर हमारे सामने आएंगे। यही राजनीति के क्षेत्र में हम इंदिरा गांधी जी को ले सकते हैं, ब्रिटेन में हम मार्गरेट थैचर को ले सकते हैं, हमारे पड़ोसी देश बांग्लादेश में सत्ता पक्ष और विपक्ष दोनों में महिलाएं वहां की राजनीति को मजबूती के साथ संभाली हुई है। पाकिस्तान में भी इस तरह की स्थिति। एक हम अफगानिस्तान को उदाहरण दें, तालिबान शक्ति है कि महिलाओं को न पढ़ने दे रहे हैं, आगे आने देते हैं, उनको पता नहीं इस तरह की क्या परेशानी है, और एक दुनिया के अन्य देश हैं वहां उनको हर सुविधाएं मिल रही। पहले युद्ध क्षेत्र में या लड़ाकू क्षेत्र में महिलाओं की भागीदारी को स्वीकार नहीं किया जाता था, लेकिन आज दुनिया के ज्यादातर देश इसको स्वीकार कर रहे हैं। हमारे देश में भी लड़ाकू विमान उड़ाने के लिए महिला पायलट आगे आई थी और उन्होंने अच्छा प्रदर्शन करके दिखाया। तो हमें अपनी जो पुरानी सोच थी उसको आज बदलने की आवश्यकता है, और हमारी जो ग्रामीण अर्थव्यवस्था है उस ग्रामीण अर्थव्यवस्था के अंतर्गत तो महिलाओं की पुरुषों से ज्यादा भागीदारी है। आप जब भी जाएंगे तो खेतों में काम करते हुए आपको महिलाओं की संख्या पुरुषों से ज्यादा दिखाई देगी। मेरा दक्षिण पूर्वी राजस्थान के बांसवाड़ा, डूंगरपुर, उदयपुर और वहां से मध्य प्रदेश, महाराष्ट्र, गुजरात, झारखंड में जाना हुआ। वहाँ जो जनजाति समाज है उसमें एक अच्छी परंपरा मैंने देखी कि उत्तर भारत के अंतर्गत तो लड़की को कितना भी अच्छा पढ़ा दो, नौकरी लगा दो, लेकिन शादी में दहेज देना पड़ता है। इस तरह की एक प्रथा प्रचलन में है। हो सकता है कुछ समाजों में नहीं हो, लेकिन ज्यादातर में इस तरह का है, और हमारे राजस्थान में तो बहुत ज्यादा। लेकिन उनमें लड़की वाले का सहयोग करते हैं लड़के वाले। मैंने जब पूछा कि ऐसा क्यों होता है, हमारे यहाँ तो ऐसा नहीं होता, तो उन्होंने एक तर्क दिया कि लड़की शादी होकर के हमारे परिवार से दूसरे घर में जाती है तो हमारे परिवार में, लड़की वाले परिवार में कमाने वाले 2 हाथ कम होते हैं और वहां 2 हाथ बढ़ते हैं, तो इसलिए उसकी पूर्ति के लिए ऐसा प्रावधान है। तो ये एक स्त्री को सम्मान देने की व्यवस्था यदि अच्छी हमें देखनी है तो उस क्षेत्र में जाकर के देख सकते हैं। तो इसलिए आज समाज को हर क्षेत्र में ये अपनी सोच को बदलना पड़ेगा कि महिलाएं मान लो पुरुषों से किसी भी क्षेत्र में कम नहीं है। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
थैंक यू प्रोफेसर मनमोहन सिंह मीना। बहुत अच्छी बातें आपने कही। स्त्रियां इस देश में पुरुषों से ज्यादा खासकर ग्रामीण लोगों में श्रम करती हैं। उसका सिर्फ यह है कि उस श्रम का मूल्य वो ठीक से नहीं लगता, और ये ही चीजें हैं जिसको लेकर लोग परेशान हैं। जो आपको डेटा दिया उसमें यही बातें कि एक नया पुराना डेटा याद दिला, दुनिया की संपत्ति में दुनिया भर की संपत्ति सिर्फ 3% स्त्रियां हैं जो उसको ओन करती हैं, यानी कि उनके पास कार्य करती हैं, सिर्फ 3। और वो दुनिया का जो इनकम है उसमें उनकी भागीदारी जो कंट्रीब्यूट करती है वो है 60%। इसीलिए जब हम लोग इनइक्वालिटी की बात करते हैं तो ये फिगर बार बार और ये चेंज नहीं होता, दिक्कत नहीं होती। तो हम लोग इंटरनेशनल वुमेन्स डे इसलिए मनाते हैं ताकि हम जांचें कि हम कहाँ हैं, हम क्या कर सकते हैं, क्या कर पा रहे हैं। तो आज मुझे बहुत बहुत प्रसन्नता है कि हमारे प्रभाषण सभाएं अपने विचारों से हमें अवगत कराया। अब हम बढ़ते हैं उस प्रोग्राम की तरफ जहाँ पर मिसेस आशल कपूर जो एक्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर हैं टीम की, उनको हम इनवाइट करें और उनको आज का भाषण करेंगे। मैं जल्दी से उनका एक छोटा सा बायोडाटा पढ़ देती हूँ। I welcome you personally. All of us have welcomed you. Bring it again. Achal Kapoor has been working as a professional with a gender lens in the field of social development and human rights for the last 30 years. Achal's core expertise lies in capacity building and facilitation, process documentation, development communication and photography, program planning and organizational development or organization development, volunteering for social change, building community livelihoods, strategizing for corporate social responsibility. She works on the themes of gender and development, sexual harassment at the workplace, violence against women, labor, health, social justice, peace, environment, and livelihoods with a dignity. Having an MSc in Development Studies, Gender Social Policy Planning from London School of Economics and Political Science, LSE, Anjali is on POSH, that is the Internal Committee for a few corporates and an NGO member, and advises on cases as well as conducts post trainings among the organizations she has been closely working with, include ILO, an institution for which I have great respect, say PFI, SCF, Women, GREAT, UNFPA, DFID, Oxfam, RIA, Action Aid, ICRW, Breakthrough, Sama, Jagori, ISCOM, and others. Most of these institutions work with us in the school, so I'm very happy that we come in the same direction. There's a whole lot of things, but just I think it's so unclear. I simply want to say that please give us your thoughts, and you are dealing with a very important issue. As Professor Kirti has pointed out, mental issue is a perennial condition originating because of discriminatory behavior in the patriarchal system that we are at the moment. So, kindly go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me? I'd like to start with wishing all the little girls and some little boys that you can see here a happy Women's Day and a happy Gender Equality Day, because it's for everyone, yeah? And all of you, happy Women's Day. Since I don't know all the names, I'll just say thank you for inviting me to all the seniors and the professors and the peers and all the other families and other people who are here. It's a privilege to be here at the university. I am an academic in my thought and practice, so it's always great to be in university spaces. So when I was given this topic of gender and mental health at the workplace, I was thinking about it as being so important, particularly in the COVID pandemic context. Because I think mental health issues for all genders have actually risen to or have come to the fore much more than we ever knew. And at the same time, the context has also given many people an opportunity to go into mindfulness or peace extensions and kind of sort of unpack their lives and look at the causes of stress and mental health problems that they have. So when I sort of started thinking about this, of course, the hashtag Break the Bias for the International Women's Day came to the fore to me. Breaking the bias on gender aspects, yes, but also breaking stigma around mental health issues. Breaking the stigma on mental health issues, because पहले ज़माने में जब भी हम ये word नहीं use करते थे, तो किसी का कोई uncomfortable होते थे या किसी कुछ अलग lost होते थे या whatever या tension में होते थे, पागल हो गए, या उनका दिमाग खराब हो गया, something's wrong in the head, right? So it was stigmatized. That was, and then from there we moved to a point where we started talking about mental illness. Mentally ill हो गए, depression है मतलब mentally ill हो गए. वो लोचा तारे जमीन पर देखा है, chemical लोचा हो गया है, right? But वो chemical लोचा तो हमने वो शब्द बाद में सुना, but it was always mental illness. And I think as a society we graduated in a good way to the fact that today we are talking about mental health. That this is a very significant part of our health as a human being, as a woman, as a man, as any other gender. Yeah. And I think that's what we really need to also focus on when we talk about it, because across genders, there are mental health issues. And so for me, when I'm actually talking to you today, I'm moving to a space where there is affirmative action towards women, because we are marking Women's Day and we are looking at mental health issues of women at the workplace. But the journey that we have traversed is this, that we are now moving to looking at men and women in this space. So the terminology of gender, for those of you who know and don't, emerged because feminism was being considered a bad word. And it was like feminists break homes, break marriages, right? And they're bra burning and all of that. I'm using that word very consciously just to be political a little bit, yeah. But I think that we have moved in that journey where gender started to actually be looked at from an equality perspective. So we started working with women with an equality lens. And now, 25 years later, we have reached a point that पुरुष पीछे छूटे जा रहे हैं. पुरुषों को साथ में लेके चलना है. So therefore, to kind of flip the coin and say, let's work on what that term gender is about, which is a social construct that determines how men and women both think how they are socialized. So today's presentation and a little bit of the conversation I'm going to share with you is going to look at mental health as the issue, as the subject, and the focus, and the manifestations of that, but applying a gender lens, which to me is looking at women and men, and the different effects that they have on them. Because I think all of you men who are here, I have fraternity with you as well. Yeah, because I think the responsibility and the way the society is created, it puts the patriarchal burden on you. And I'm saying that consciously. You are socialized to be the breadwinner. You have to take charge. So the pressures that you face are there, and then women face the pressures, but they also face discrimination. So I think from a women's perspective, we have the inequality, injustice, discrimination. And from the male perspective, we have this responsibility angle, both of which cause mental health issues. Yeah, let's keep. Okay, why should we talk about this? Somebody said before, women constitute 50% of the population. Women are a very critical part of the workforce. And so there is a demand for diversity and inclusion. Yeah? We talk about it at the workplace because work culture and reputation vis-a-vis how we deal with mental health issues plays on employee retention, that is, and women's retention particularly, right? Women have a right to life and work free of violence and free of harassment, which then causes mental health issues, right? And we have the POSH Act. The government has provided a POSH Act, which is looking at sexual harassment at the workplace as a particular specific focus, but we cannot deny the link between that and mental health issues. So everyone knows this, but I'm just putting it out for us to kind of see. I'm just going to read a few issues here. Anxiety, we say tension hai, har waqt tension, hopelessness feel kar rahe hain. How are our faces feeling? Are we feeling stressed? Those words we are constantly hearing, right? Fatigue we are constantly. Burnout, we're constantly looking at, but we're not recognizing. Now, you may think burnout is some abstract word and has no connection with mental health, because mental health is about something is wrong here. But the fact is, burnout is an indication of the fact that you are mentally now unable to do a lot of stuff and your health is suffering because of that. And then of course sleep. Neend nahi aati hai? Kyun neend nahi aati hai? Right? These are all different manifestations of all the kind of problems that we may be facing. And it could come from workplace, very importantly for those who work outside, because how many hours of our day do we spend at work? How many hours do you spend at work? Anybody? How many hours have you been spending working in the last 2 years of the pandemic online? Almost 18 to 20 hours. Across sector, it's almost as if you've got this captive audience and we have nothing else to do. Because when we went to our workplace, we went in the morning, we did our home stuff, we went for a walk, we did our cooking, whatever, and things. We went to the gym, etc. We went to work, we came back, we had something to do. But 24/7, we were in the home and we couldn't even deal with each other in our families. And so what we could deal with was the computer. But what we were dealing with along with the computer were all the pressures that the workspace was giving us, the workplace was giving us. And we were like, yes, we'll do it because we wanted to consume our time. Because that was the way. So the kind of stress that caused us is actually now witnessing, because now when you see people coming back to work, it's quite challenging for a lot of people. The orientation has shifted, right? So it's another kind of a thing to look at next. So I'm just trying to bring our focus to why the workplace and what we need to look at. We need to look at individual employees. We need to look at organizational structure and working environment. Often we put the blame of any problem on individuals, right? But we all work in a meta system. And that meta system operates on our minds and our bodies and our feelings to actually make us feel and behave and work in a certain way. So I think at workplaces to actually tackle these aspects, these three circles is very important. And I would say that a gender sensitive approach towards mental health is the way to go at workplaces. Because if you just do that with these three components, you'll actually be able to create something will go faster, something will go slower, something might be easier, something will be more difficult, which is fine. And I think the important thing is why are we focusing at the workplace? Because we want all of us to perform well. We want to be productive. We want our institutions to be productive, right? We want to be able to give the best quality education to the students who are coming here. We want to be able to have our intellectual capacities enhanced. So it's our productivity. And to have an environment where we are valued, we are respected, there is equality, and there is dignity of work. Do I, as a woman worker, feel I have my workplace gives me dignity of work? Because if it doesn't, if I don't have that respect, if I don't have the value, then it's going to cause me mental health problems. Next. So what's the gender lens to working with? I just put out 2 examples because I actually wanted to show you some videos with, there's less time, but just to give you an example. Look at this first example. It's a young woman who's in her first job and she's talking to you who is a friend of hers in the workplace. Fear. Okay, no hierarchies here. You notice that her confidence and focus at work has reduced. After the first 6 months, when she seemed very energetic and excited, and you ask her, she's nervous and disturbed all the time. You ask her, and she starts sobbing. And she says that she's scared of a colleague who misbehaves. She's frightened that if she takes up the matter, it's going to go to with a senior level, she may lose her job. Right? She's deeply embarrassed that it is her that caused him to behave in the way he behaved. Right? And what would people think about her character? Now, I'm not focusing here on the sexual harassment part. I'm focusing only on the mental health part, very conscious. Because that's what we're trying to make the connect on. She's disturbed, she's nervous, she's lost her energy, she's lost her confidence. She is feeling I am the cause. I did something wrong. And she's thinking I'm going to be characterized in a certain way. And that's playing on her. Right? The fact that there is a case in question, that is a lecture on sexual harassment specific, which is another area. And I've had to be very conscious to try and stay with this pain because I do a lot of washed work, and it's kind of intuitive for me to get into that space. Now let's look at the next one, and I'm saying man because I want us to focus on women. IIT degree talks to you as a friend. It could be a male worker or woman. You notice that he's quiet at the workplace. Women will cry, men will be quiet. Because that's socialization. Men are told that crying is not for boys. And so they went, so they're quiet. They might be angry and irritable, right? And his energy levels have gone down. When asked repeatedly, he shares that he's been asked to do all the administrative jobs of a senior. He is feeling mentally stressed because what he came for with his IIT degree, he's in a management company, he's not seeing his career advancement happening. He can't see that happening, and he knows that if he says no, he may lose his job. And that's it. Now let's think about a man like this who's facing the mental health pressure and the problem that this situation is posing. So gender lens to women and men workers at our workplace will enable us to see that it's not all hunky-dory for men either, as much as it is not for women. But again, putting the focus that women have to face the pressure within the workplace and at home. Men can get away some extent at home. So the pressure cycle, if you go 1 to 10, you might grade it differently for men. Let's go ahead. Yeah. So different situations among male and female colleagues can trigger mental health problems at the workplace, is what I'm saying. But I want to bring our attention to the fact that organizational structure, working conditions, workplace safety issues, policies, etc., are also factors that play on here. Before we go to this slide, can you pull that film? So I have a short film. अच्छा बाद में ठीक है एंड में करते हैं ठीक है छोड़िए so mental health at work, how it's affected, like what happens. So stress, burnout, bullying, harassment. You know, we only hear about bullying when ragging happens in college, but bullying happens at the workplace. Okay, so this is the individual part of the circle. Yeah. The second is the gender sensitive insensitive work policies, work rules and expectations from men and women. A woman in a particular hierarchical position and a man in a same hierarchical position, the expectations and the role they play is different. Let's recognize it. And that is not just the fault of the institution. I'm not putting out any fault lines. I'm saying this is how the system is. This is how society has, the socialization from the family to the workplace carries. Are we willing to address this? Is the question we need to ask. And the third is the working environment, working conditions part. So that's that part of the circle. Yeah. Now I'm making this difference here. Okay, and every one of us may have different interpretations, and this list can increase and decrease, whatever. But I've done some linearity to the. If you look at it, for women, it's sexual harassment, safety, leave, flexible timings for support structures, especially during pregnancy and early motherhood, and till the child is sort of able to walk. They don't have a dadi, nani, nana, dada, there, or whatever, care, nannies. Work-life balance, personal finances, career growth, and burnout. जब औरत बिल्कुल नहीं कर पाएगी, burnout हो जाएगी, तब वो एंड में होएगा, खत्म सब कुछ जो हैंडल कर लिया ना उसके बाद होएगा. For men, bullying, career growth, the fact that I'm not getting promoted, all of that, personal finances, work-life balance, and burnout. Yeah. So I'm sorry we don't have much time for discussion because I do need to continue and finish quickly. How much time do I have? 5 minutes? Okay, I'm going to go quickly. Oh, okay, I'm not getting into stress, just to kind of put these out quickly, let's just go. But I want to bring some highlights to the aspects here. Lack of support at work, lack of control over your work. जो आपका काम है, अगर आपको वो काम जैसे आप करना चाहते हैं या कर सकते हैं नहीं करने दिया जाता है या स्पेस नहीं है, that will cause mental health issues. आगे चलिए. How gendered are these factors is what we need to think about. Yeah, burnout we've said is excessive and prolonged stress. Okay, and you lose interest and motivation. Let's go ahead. The differences just in terms of what happens. Stress you are able to live with. You'll continue to live with. Burnout, you're done. You're disengaged completely. You're numb. You get to that point when you're numb. Yeah, let's go. Lack of recognition is a very, very critical point at the workplace that we need to look at when we look at burnout. And working too much is another one. Physically working too much, online working too much. Let's go ahead. Bullying. Bullying is acts of aggression, hostility, social isolation, and disrespect. I think this is again something that we really need to look at, how bullying happens. It's almost insidious sometimes. It's unsaid. It's almost like sexual harassment, but I wish we had a law on that actually. Let's go ahead. Humiliating each other, people, gossiping, rumors, excluding, ignoring, etc. Let's go ahead. This we know, but I just put it. The third and most important one for stress for women particularly, when we're looking at affirmative action for women,
idea?
Yes. So the third important one that we're talking about here specifically from a women's perspective is the fact that stress and mental health issues are caused due to harassment. And we know this, many of you know the sexual harassment prevention law, so I won't get into that, but it is gestural, physical, verbal and others. Next. So workplace harassment can take these different forms. Verbal, psychological, digital, particularly now that we are all online, physical, gesture-based, and sexual. Let's go ahead next. Okay, now this one. This is important. I'm going to spend a little time on it. Employees. What is the advice for employees? What is the advice for all of us who work? That we look at what is the cause of our mental health issues. What is the reasons that we are facing these things? For instance, if you're facing personal and professional issues, are we bringing them to the workplace and is that affecting us, right? What kind of support do you get? What kind of training do you receive? Next. What actions you can take? Here, I think I would say that talking is my first one. I think talking to people, even if it is peers, I think we create barriers along with the structures that create barriers. Structure is the right? The Maslow's theory of hierarchies. Remember that? I mean, so, but I think as human beings, we connect. Outside of this room, I will connect with you differently as I would connect with you in this space. But I think to create really good, happy, mentally healthy workplace structures, we can start doing that. So next. Employers. This is important. Recognizing, recommending, and redressing the concerns of the staff. That is actually, if we do the first one, we're really good as employers. We would really be able to handle a lot of the mental health issues that come up next. I'm not repeating this, just have a look. Yeah, next. Yeah. Advice for all of us: respecting diversity, creating inclusion, maintaining a free and fair atmosphere, supporting each other, speaking out, and growing collectively. Because when we grow collectively, we will be mentally sane and not insane. Let's go ahead. Pledges today. I think this is the pledges that we can make today as affirmative action on Women's Day, which is upholding women's right to work with dignity, creating safe spaces for women to be heard, recognizing verbal and non-verbal behavior, creating a healthy atmosphere at the workplace in terms of timings, listening circles, support systems, etc. Next. Okay, let's go ahead. Next one. Hashtags. Break the bias, break the silence, break the stigma. Happy Women's Day. I have a short 5-minute video. I'd really like you to see it. I think it's just very quick, but I think it'll just bring this all together. So if you don't mind. Yeah.
இந்திய அரசியலமைப்பு சட்டத்தை முதல்ல அறிமுகப்படுத்தி பேசிய டாக்டர் ராஜேந்திர பிரசாத் வந்து இந்த இந்திய அரசியலமைப்பு சட்டம் என்பது ஒரு உயிரற்ற ஜடம். இதை வந்து உயிரோட்டமாக வைப்பது அப்படிங்கிறது அது யார் கையில் இருக்குதோ அதை பொறுத்து தான் வந்து அது உயிரோட்டமாகும் அப்படிங்கிறத சொன்னார்.
It was the most touted studio at that time, Chitranjali Studio. You think, oh man, you've come to the best studio in the country. And I go into an editing room where there's no loo for me.
I was routinely left out of meetings. A lot of hate mail started going around.
அந்த பொம்பளை 20 வருஷமா அந்த பெண் வந்து ஒரு அந்த கட்டட தொழிலாளியா இருப்பாங்க. ஆனா ஒரு நாள் கூட அவங்க மேஸ்திரி ஆக முடியாது. ஆம்பளை மட்டும் தான் மேஸ்திரி ஆகும். சித்தாள் கடைசி சித்தாளா மட்டும் தான் இருக்கும்.
இப்போ இந்த வீட்டு வேலை செய்யும் பெண்களை பொறுத்தளவில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அவங்களால எதுவும் நிரூபிக்கவும் முடியாது. இன்னொன்று அந்த வீட்டை நம்பி தான் அவங்க வேலைக்கு போயிருக்கிறாங்க. அந்த வீட்டில் ஒரு செக்ஸுவல் அபியூஸ் நடந்ததுன்னு சொன்னால் வேணா என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க, அந்த வீட்டை விட்டு இன்னொரு வீட்டுக்கு வேணால் வேலைக்கு போகலாம். எத்தனை வீடு மாற்ற முடியும்? வீட்டு வேலை செய்கிற பெண்கள் எத்தனை வீடு மாற்ற முடியும்?
Your coach is almost like the person you look up to, almost like a father figure even. They are coaching you in terms of the sport, but they're also telling you how to behave, how to live, the choices you have to make.
He's asking me to come with him to Thekadi. He's asking me to come with him to Delhi. He's asking me to wear a sari. He's telling me that my structure is good, so he wants to see me in a sari.
Why do women fear reporting something like this? And how is there a backlash? The first time I remember taking that particular problem of inappropriate conversation with this guy to his manager basically said, that's not what inappropriate is. This is not harassment. If I had gone ahead and complained and, said that this is what had happened, it would have probably destroyed my entire sailing career.
On the one hand, you have a law that empowers female employees and explicitly states that their safety is the responsibility of the employer. And then you have the way the world really works. And part of the challenge of compliance is reconciling these two realities.
பெண்கள் மீதான வன்முறை, அதுவும் குறிப்பாக பெண்கள் மீதான பாலியல் வன்முறை அப்படிங்கிறது இந்தியா மாதிரியான ஒரு ஃபியூடல் சொசைட்டியில் குற்றமாக பார்க்கப்படுறதே இல்லை. அது ஒரு பெண்கள் மீது அப்படி ஒரு வன்முறையை ஏவுறது ஒரு ரைட்டாக பார்க்கப்படுது.
There is a psychological sense of protection that even if I commit a crime like this, it probably will not be reported. There won't be anything held against me, and very often society does not stigmatize the perpetrator as much as it stigmatizes the victim.
It comes down to why were you out so late, what were you doing with that person, why were you drinking, what were you wearing.
If this comes to the knowledge of their families might just say, okay, what, you don't need to go to work anymore.
ஒரு இஸ்லாமிய பின்புலத்தில், இஸ்லாமிய கிராமத்தில் பெண்கள் வந்து வீட்டுக்குள்ளே தான் இருக்கணும். அவங்க தனக்குன்னு சுயமாக எந்த வேலையும் பார்க்க முடியாது. அதுவும் எழுதுறது அப்படிங்கிறது, புத்தகங்கள் வாசிக்கிறதே ஒரு குற்றம் அப்படின்னு பார்க்கக்கூடிய ஒரு இடத்துல தான் நான் இருந்து இந்த வேலையெல்லாம் பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கேன்.
Everybody has the freedom to wear what they want, be how they want, and that freedom is not given to especially women. They are supposed to cover up. They are supposed to wear their religion on their clothes. They have to wear their sheen basically on their body.
அவங்க பொண்ணுக்கு அட்வைஸ் பண்றாங்க, ஒழுங்காரு, அடங்கிரு, புருஷ அடிச்சா பேசாம இரு, அம்மா அப்பா கிட்ட சொல்லாத, இதுக்கெல்லாம் கம்ப்ளைண்ட் தூக்கிட்டு வராத. இதுதான் மகளிர் காவல் நிலையமுடைய லட்சணமா இருக்கு.
There are reports of young girls committing suicide, of killing themselves because they were unable to bear the humiliation of having been teased, of having been harassed. Why do you feel this excessive humiliation when you ought to only feel anger, right? Why do you learn, and how do you learn to feel shame? And can't we unlearn this?
இப்போ பல உயிர் தியாகங்கள், பல போராட்டங்களுக்கு பின்னாடி தான் வந்து பெண்களை பாதுகாக்கிற சட்டங்கள்லாம் வருது. அப்போ இந்த சட்டம் வந்து 15-20 வருஷ காலத்துக்கு அப்புறம் போராடி வந்தாலும் கூட அந்த சட்டம் வந்து கராராக அமல்படுத்தப்படுதா அப்படிங்கிறது தான் இப்போ ஒரு பெரிய கேள்வி.
Thank you so much. So I think the hashtags that we should take back with ourselves is breaking the stigma, breaking the bias, and breaking the silence. Thanks.
Thank you, Asha. It was a wonderful presentation. Of this talk, it is very two things with us. That is to say, mental issues are, if they don't arise from outside, they're not only chemical reactions that take place within our minds, they're socially generated, embedded in our relationships. Inequality, discrimination, all of this lead to such cannot be tolerated. Very different kind of problem. And we are now aware these kinds of issues are there. Now, in clinical terms, as well as in the form of psychotherapy, counseling. These are things not to be wary of, but should be accepted. Because we need to create a human society. These kinds of facilities. Now, I am very, very glad that our Vice Chancellor has joined us today. We'll straight away go for lighting of the lamp, and then we will see, because we have to do also felicitations, which we must do part of the program. Then we will go for releasing of the e-handbook and video developed by Cash, award giving, postal making competition categories, etc. And finally, the Vice Chancellor's presidential address close to this magnificent program that we have last month. Thank you so very much. I'm very glad that you joined us. So can we just proceed with this? Professor Meena, kindly to आपके लिए पहले आप डॉक्टर भारत भूषण चेयरपर्सन सर इस बात की बहुत खुशी है नमस्ते आप आने के पहले मैंने बहुत तारीफ की है
हमारी छोड़ के आपको देना है आपको देना
प्रोफेसर माफी रॉय देंगे देवी प्रोफेसर दासो लता जी आप मीना को गीता पाटिल आचार्य कपूर को हम लोग शॉल दे रहे हैं। अब हम लोग ई हैंडबुक और वीडियो को डेवलप किया गया है कैश के जरिए हम रिलीज करेंगे। E-book. Video developed by Crash. Sir. So the e-book developed by Cash is being released by our Vice Chancellor, Professor Nagesh Patel. It's a great occasion. इसी तरह हम लोग और बहुत कुछ करते जाएं, बहुत ही अच्छा रहेगा हमारी बस्ती के लिए, वीडियो के लिए, सबों के लिए। Always significant because it endures people, group situations. Now the video. During this period, leading up to the celebration of International Day celebration, School of Gender Development Studies, others have competitions, poster making, and I must say, because I made it on 11th of this month, School of Gender Development Studies has organized a poetry reading session. I invite you all, particularly from my side, because I am coordinator of this program, with our Vice Chancellor, sharing it in any case. So I invite Himati Roy, our director, Himati Roy, to announce the prize distribution, poster making competition, category 1, and slogan competition. उसके बाद मैं फिर आकर के अपने शराब को हमारे साथ को इनवाइट करूँगी उसके लिए उसके बाद बोर्ड ऑफ नाम होगा जो हमारे देंगे फिर भी आपको
Thank you all, especially Professor Singh. This poster making competition had a topic of women's contribution in nation building. We had two categories. One is 8 years to 12 years, and we have 12 years to 16 years. In 8 to 12 years, the first prize winner is Tanak, the daughter of Ravindra Tagore. If she is here, please come up. Aage aaye.
Big applause.
ये पेंटिंग है इनकी। Thank you. अभी सेकंड प्राइज के लिए विशाल कुमार, son of Dharamveer Singh. और ये इनका पेंटिंग है। The third prize is Radha Rani, daughter of Kamlesh Shaw. ये इसका पेंटिंग है। कैटेगरी 1 के विनर्स थे। कैटेगरी 1 में फर्स्ट प्राइज तनक कुछ कहना चाहते हैं आप लोगों से, हम उनको इनवाइट करते हैं कुछ कहने के लिए।
Good morning, respected teachers presented here. First of all, happy International Women's Day to all respected madams presented here. I especially thank to my parents for encouraging me to participate in this competition. Strong women, strong nation. Thank you very much.
We request Radha Rani also to say something.
Respected VC sir, PVC, and teachers, and my all dear friends, a very happy good afternoon to all of you. I am Radha Rani. Today I have got a golden chance to speak impact message. नारी नहीं है सपना, नारी नहीं कहानी, नारी नहीं है सपना, नारी नहीं कहानी, नारी की गोदी में पलती है जिंदगानी। घर घर की बेटी बहू नारी, सिंदूर बन के डंके, मुश्किलों में चूड़ियां तलवार बन के खनके, मुश्किलों में चूड़ियां तलवार बन के खनके। स्त्री की उन्नति में ही राष्ट्र का उन्नति है। A lot of thank you all.
After these sweet messages, the second category winners between 12 years to 16 years, the first prize is Jaya Harshini, daughter of G. Radhakrishna. And this is the painting Jaya has painted. The second prize goes to Pooja, son of Ashok Kumar. आज वो आए नहीं तो इनके जगह पे the prize will be taken by Kailash. ये है उनका पेंटिंग. This is the painting. The third prize winner is Rishima Sharma, daughter of Geeta Sharma. And this is the painting Rishima drew. After these two categories, we also had a slogan competition in which the topic was gender equality with sustainable tomorrow. The first prize for the slogan goes to Prasanjit Majumdar, assistant at RC Kolkata. His slogan was Ek Drishti Ek Vichar, Samta Hi Aaye Aur Nikhar. Probably he has joined online on the YouTube or Facebook. We will send the prize to him at his working place address. The second prize goes to Sachin Kumar. He is a student of MA Political Science, July 2021 batch. His slogan was Sunehri Kal Ka Ek Hi Nara, Barabari Ho Hak Hamara. The third prize goes to Viraj Kumar, BA July 2019 batch. His slogan was Beti ki शिक्षित बनाओ, बेटी को शिक्षित बनाओ, सबके कल में समृद्ध बनाओ. Thank you all of you. These were the prize winners. I will request Professor Singh to tell.
बहुत बहुत बधाई सारे बच्चों को जिन्होंने पार्टिसिपेट किया और प्रेजेंट स्लोगन रिकॉर्ड दिमागी में बंगाली उसमें think of anyway, thank you so much, Himadri, for doing this important job. Now comes the most important moment of today's program, the presidential address by Vice Chancellor.
To all of you, happy International Women's Day. I must compliment all my colleagues who have taken this initiative to have this celebrations on the eve of International Women's Day. School of Gender and Development Studies has taken up this particular job, and they have invited Anchal Kapoor to enlighten all of us. I was just looking at the PPTs which she has shown to all of us, bringing awareness about the significance of equality and mental health at workplace. Along with that, she has also shown a small video film also, wherein we have seen the comments of women activists. I'm happy that all the three bodies, they are working in coordination to strengthen the awareness with respect to the contribution of women and the role which they are playing all over the country. Gender and Development Studies, we are having the Equal Opportunity Cell, and again we are having the committees for sexual harassment at 3 levels. One is at the headquarters, then other one is for the regional centers, and third one is the apex body. For the first time, I am seeing that they also brought the e-book. Vandana ji is saying yes, yes, yes. It means that it will have contribution. Because initially, when I am putting her name, I thought that whether she will contribute or not. But somehow I am happy to see the way she presented the details as well as the different mode to reach all. That is much more important. And we see that, yes, now the time has come when we have to use the digital mode to reach to the unreached also. Not only the IGNOU fraternity, we have to go beyond that also. As we all know, that our biggest schools, they are headed by the women directors. Ashmi Sinha is there, Director School of Social Sciences. More than 50% of our learners, they come from that school. Supported with School of Humanities, Dr. Malti Mathur is there, continuously working hard. And the School of Sciences. So all the 3 big schools and controlling more than 50% teachers. Not saying female teachers or male teachers, teachers. School of Health Sciences, director is again, PTG is present over here. Director School of Social Work, Director School of Law, Director SOITS, Adam is looking at me, Pro Vice Chancellor also. So everywhere there is the empowerment of women, and they all are contributing significantly. The task which was assigned to them. And today I have seen the senior most professor of School of Gender and Development Studies has come forward to conduct the program. Normally, the senior people, they say that, no, it is not my work. I am a senior most professor in the university. So why I should do all these politics? But the way she conducted the program, that also shows that empowerment, the responsibility, and the contribution. All the three things are important. Just now I was in another program that is of the Delhi government, wherein the empowerment of women, we have seen good number of the residents of the area of this South districts, they are here. And the chief guest is, this chief guest has an alumni of TIGNU, Principal Secretary, Health and Family Welfare. He passed out from our university again, from Rashmi's department, public administration. Very good to because as I have told you earlier, and you all know, that ours is a big family. We are 36 years old and 36 lakh alumni. And existing students are 35 lakhs. So it is a family of 71 lakhs. Big family. And coordinated group, well-led group, 21 schools. And the responsibilities they are being shared by all. Contribution they are being made by all. And everyone is coming forward to contribute in the area in which they are expected to contribute significantly. And that is the beauty of this great institution. Even for women empowerment, I just now spoke there also the same thing. The education is an important role, and wherein IGNOU is contributing significantly. Reaching to those areas where the education facilities are not available. And at an affordable cost, we are trying to reach to them. And when we look at our numbers, it is more than 45% of our students enrolled. So there also we are contributing significantly in almost all the disciplines. And if you look at the faculty strength also, I don't have the exact number right at this point of time, but safely I can say it is more than 50%. No, Amirali. So a faculty strength also is more than 50%. So we see that we all are empowering women and try to see that how that women power, it can be used for the growth of this institution. And we are getting results also for that. And that is the message which we want to share with all. And today when we see our young friends, they are coming out with their own ideas, with their own thoughts. Because that is also the way forward. Because if we speak to us only, expert comes and speaks to us. It may not carry that much of weight if we see that young children of 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, they are being involved to be in the painting competition, to be involved in the poetry competition. And that is what we all are doing. To see that, let that spirit of women empowerment, it should spread to all our younger generations. Awareness aspects is to be looked into that. And that is what we all are contributing. So once again, happy International Women's Day. Matter is coming out. To close my talk. So, and I must appreciate you, the way you conducted the program, the way you coordinated the things, and the involvement of the people present over here is also appreciated. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. From the beginning to the end of this delivery was positive. Positive attitude was demanded and he has delivered it. We're indeed very grateful, sir, for the way you think. It's a matter of thinking and practice. That's where changes happen. Your leadership, your positive attitude towards the very difficult question of gender equality, very difficult, is truly appreciated. As an institution, I am proud of you, and I'm proud of you, because without leaders, ideas don't function, ideas don't get translated. They remain theory. You'll find 101 people telling you it's all theory. Practice is different than theory is different. I don't think so. I think we all we are very privileged to be educated in this country. We have a history of all kinds of violence against women, on problem of literacy, problem of neglect as far as women's aspirations are concerned. But we are going somewhere, we are reaching something. And if we have people like you and our pro-vice chancellors who have supported us by joining us, I am indeed very grateful to you. So I think we have a future as a nation, because we have a future for our institution. It's my slogan. IGNOU improves, our nation improves. IGNOU takes leadership, this country takes leadership. So thank you again so very much. Thank you for being with us. Now, the last formality that has to be completed, Professor Himadri Roy is going to give vote of thanks, which is a formal requirement. But substantively, I think you had a great day. I think it has been a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Singh. First of all, I would, on the behalf of the organizers, especially ICASH committee and the EOC, I would like to show our gratitude to our Honorable VC, Professor Nageshwar Rao, for guiding us always whenever required. Our PVC, Professor Sumitra Kupreti, for her unsolicited suggestions. Our gratitude to all the other PVCs, Professor R.P. Das, Professor Satyakam, Professor Uma Kanchilal, Dr. Shrikant Mahapatra, and Professor Manroop Singh Meena. I would like to thank the chairperson of ICASH, Professor Vandana Singh, and our SD Cash, Dr. Ranjit Panda. The chairperson of Equal Opportunity Cell, Dr. Bharat Bhushan, and the coordinator, Dr. Hindata, to make this program successful. Extended thanks to all the directors of the school, heads of the divisions, units, cell, and the registrars of the university. Also, regional directors of all regional centers who have joined us online. To the COE director and the staff for their technical support. To the School of Gender and Development Studies, faculty and the staff for making this celebration successful. But last but not the least, special thanks to all our loving learners across the globe who are listening to us and make this program successful globally. Thanks a lot. I would request the COE to play the national anthem now. Kindly all to stand.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Yeah, stand out.